Okay, everybody, Tim Harris here. Just wanted to take a minute to go back over the Flip That Contract program, wholesaling contracts for cash. It's very important to think. That's what we're doing here. We're the middleman. We are wholesaling, selling our right to purchase a property to someone else. You've got to go back to the original disclaimer. At the end of the day, this strategy takes a considerable amount of time, 10, 15, 20 hours a week. And it does that if you want to be successful at it. Now, if you just want to kind of, just go along, go with the program, yeah, you can probably spend less, but you're not going to be near as successful. You're going to need to prepare to invest at least $500 a month to see measurable, worthwhile, profitable results. You need to be a good listener. And by that, you're going to have to learn to communicate with people. The know-it-alls go broke. You've got to learn to let someone else drive. And part of that is starting right now with you've got to learn to trust George and myself. If you can't trust us and just commit to the system we're teaching you, you're really just wasting your time. If you don't commit and you're not going to commit to be a good listener and to being consistent, it's really just going to be an uphill battle for you. So there's several types of assignments I want to talk to you about. The first assignment is a low equity assignment. This is more of a subject to. You're assigning the mortgage, and this only works on pretty houses, move-in ready. We've said that 100 times when you need to pay attention. These are move-in ready houses, houses that need very, very, very little cosmetic work, and the terms have to be favorable. So if it's a house that needs $10,000 in work and is $10,000 behind, the odds of finding someone to put $20,000 into a property with little equity is not very likely. Now, these high equity assignments, that's where I like to focus my attention. Because on a high equity assignment, you're focusing on a property that someone will sell to you that needs work, they have a need to sell, and you can turn around and wholesale it to an investor, a rental landlord, or a flipper, and make yourself $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 and move on down the road. Simultaneous close is the same as a high equity assignment. It's just that's more for the REO strategy of when you are looking for properties that you're going to put under contract that are current REOs that you intend to turn around and sell, so you have to go line up one-day money through a hard money lender or bank or use your own cash to fund your transaction and then cash out of it within a day or two. So in Module 1, setting up your business, what you learned is these are the things that you should have done by now. And if you haven't, you need to hit pause, look at this screen, and go do it. You should have a Google Voice number. You should have business cards. You should have if you don't have these, hit pause and go do them right now. Contact database, use Microsoft Excel, Outlook, Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp to keep track of your investors. And then, use Microsoft Excel to keep track of the leads you get, unless you have a contact management system. So you just want to keep track of the seller's name, the property address, the seller's address, all the phone numbers you have for the seller, email addresses, and then a notes section and a follow-up section of just what you need to do next. You need to have a bank account set up to keep your expenses separate. Part of that is having your DBA filed. You need to have a fulfillment center. There's a bunch of them out there, guys. Click-to-Mail is one. Fishmail is another. We're working on getting a Flip That Contract solution set up for you. We just don't have it yet. FTCsoftware.com, you need to go get yourself a buyer and seller squeeze page. YouTube, in a BoxNet account, you have to have those to market your properties. Craigslist, you need to have a Craigslist account. Go ahead and set it up. Postlets account. DFWinvestors.com account. It's free if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Go ahead and get one of those. It's a great way to market your deals. BiggerPockets.com, ePropertyVault.com, MyHouseDeals.com, Facebook.com, Twitter.com, ConnectedInvestors.com. These are all free resources to promote your deals. And then because if you're not ready to set up to promote your deals, that's kind of like sitting there telling yourself you're not going to have deals. And then you need to have your assumed name set up already. So lead generation is one of those hot button topics. And the thing about lead generation is Here are 10 different kinds of motivated sellers, and you need to be marketing to more than two or more of them. Because, I'll just go over and tell you, probate. You need to send a letter to probate every month, and then you need to send them 2 follow-up postcards on the first of every month, and then take them off your list. Vacant abandoned houses. These are houses you visually identify that are in need of work. When you find them, you are going to send them the 6-letter series, and you're going to add them to your monthly mailers, where you're hitting them every 3 months. Pre-foreclosure trustee sheriff sale. This is the George Roddy system of mailing them on the 18 days prior to the sale and 11 days prior to the sale. Ugly but occupied. These are visually identified properties that you have found out and about in your neighborhood, and you're going to send them the 6-letter series and also add them to your monthly mailer list. Divorce. There are public record service searches that you can do. Post bankruptcy, again, it's a public record that you can pull, or you can just buy the list from FLS if you're in one of the counties they serve. Notice of default, late mortgages, that's another list you can buy from FLS. REO's expired listings, you're going to get this through Property Analyzer Pro or whatever MLS software you look at, and read the description of the property. If it's an expired listing that said it needed work, you need to try to get your hands on that person's contact information. Code violators, I only know of one student that has actually went to their city and got the list of code violators, and I'm helping him make design a campaign on it. And then absentee owners, you should get a list of absentee owners. If you don't have access to it, you can go to a company like Real List. They have it. And then also, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, FLS can help you get that as well. All right, marketing. This is simple. It's a numbers game. And the biggest reason I can sit here and tell you all my secrets is most of you will try and then quit. And it's that month 3 or 4 that it actually starts to pay off. So don't quit. Don't quit on yourself. You need to weed through people. You need to talk to people who need to sell their property now. They have a need. First, understand the real estate marketing campaign process. Okay, prospects. Prospects are all of these people. When they call you, they become a lead, and then you've got to convert that lead into a deal. Remember, time, money, and the right prospects. You need to, at the minimum, have an online squeeze page for both sellers and buyers. You should have that already. If you don't, you're behind the power curve. Offline marketing, you should take all these postcards, letters that we're putting up, and you need to customize them to fit what it is you're looking to do. And you need to get door hangers, and you don't need any print ads right now. If you're going to commit to drive neighborhoods, you need to go ahead and get some door hangers printed up, because it's a great thing to do to hang it on the front door of a house that looks like it's vacant and abandoned. Take these postcards, download them, and edit them. Don't use Jennifer's picture. Don't use Jennifer's names. You can use my phone number if you would like. No, I'm just kidding. You'll put your Google Voice number in there, and at the bottom of this, you want to include your squeeze page. And these are editable. They're all in the dashboard, and you need to get in there and and go ahead and customize them now. When I say customize them, I don't mean change the marketing piece, change the verbiage, etc. I mean you need to go in and get them updated and ready to mail for you. These are the letters. This is an example of a probate letter that George uses. I don't use the condolences letter. I use just the standard house letter, which is uploaded in the portal. And then there's George's picture letter, which I actually have begun to use now. Module 3, lead conversion. Okay, very important. Your job is to determine 2 things. Are they motivated, and do the numbers work? A motivated seller with a house where the numbers don't work does not make a deal. A house where the numbers work, but the seller's not motivated, does not make a deal. And it's very important to drive that home. There's no sense to try to negotiate a deal that is not a deal. It's a pointless waste of effort, and it's discouraging. And you're going to meet people. Guys, I had someone call me last week This guy was diagnosed with a type of leukemia, and he was told he had 6 months to live. He needed to sell his house so he could move to Galveston to spend the rest of his life. It was a 2-bedroom shack in the middle of nowhere. I had to tell him, sir, I can't help you. Again, the numbers wouldn't have worked. He had motivation, but the numbers would not have worked. The scripts will give you guidance. Ask a lot of questions. Find out why they want to sell. Tell them, hey, when I buy your house, and listen to words like need to. Figure out when they want to do it. Figure out what their time frame is. And if you can, get the loan or debt information, but don't make a big deal out of it, because ultimately it doesn't really matter. You need to go on appointments. Now, this is something I can tell you that you've got to learn. Just be a regular guy or girl. Don't try to be Joe Slick, the real estate guru. You will lose more deals by rubbing people the wrong way. Just last week, I got a phone call from a guy that he straight up told me that a guy had offered him $15,000 for a house, and he would have taken it, but he just didn't like the way the guy was, and he told him to get off his property. You need to just bond and identify with people and be normal. Let them talk. Learn to shut up and let them talk. You've got to practice that. Learn to shut up and let them talk. Just relax. Make it like you're talking to an old friend. Okay, when you're preparing for the appointment, you need to get comps for the last 12 months, active, sold, and leased comps. You need to print out your maps so that you know where you're going. You need all investor activity in the area off MLS. You want to look at any as-is listings that are active or sold. That way, you know what people are paying for this type of product in a certain area. If they tell you on the phone that there's any major repairs, they tell you the foundation's down 6 inches, or they had a foundation guy tell them it was $20,000, you want to go ahead and take that person with you, that contractor with you. You can find these contractors simply by going to an investor club and getting some good contacts that way. And also, you need to factor in travel time. Don't be late to an appointment, because if you're late to an appointment, you've started out on the wrong foot.
When you arrive at the appointment, you want to drive the comparable sales. You drive past the subject property. You go drive past the comparable sales. And at that point, you're really in a position to where when you arrive at the house, you've got a good feeling about what it's worth. You want to be early, 5 to 10 minutes. Dress casual, not lazy. I mean, not flip-flops and shorts with holes in them, but you want to make sure that, I wear blue jeans and a polo shirt. It's very approachable. It makes me look very blue collar and working class. Be nice. Just respect their territory. And the whole thing is you want to bond with the sellers, and you want to seem approachable, and you want them to feel as if they can trust you. When you walk the property, let them tell you the story of the property. If you see a big, like I always say, if you see the 1-inch crack in the wall, you don't need to point it out. They see it. But if you see something they may not have seen, find a polite way to point it out. Mind your manners. Don't be rude about the house. A lot of times there's a lot of shame in the seller. The seller's feeling shameful about the condition of the property or the circumstances surrounding the property, and you just want to be respectful of that. Pay attention for catchphrases. Need to, have to, quickly, things like that, because that will help you present your offer in a better manner. Make sure you know your ERC. Watch the what to offer module in the Flip That Contract dashboard, because that ERC is a guiding thing that you don't want to start lowering your ERC to try to make a deal fit, quote unquote. Determine what they owe. They'll tell you a lot of times in walking, they'll have to say, well, mom paid it off 10 years ago, or I refinanced it 5 years ago. These are the things that you really want to listen for, because it will help you determine some of the facts behind the property without having to be just blatant and ask them outright. So how do you run the numbers? You've got to figure out if you're looking at a rental property or a flip property. And you do that by driving the comps and looking at what things are selling for. If you've got 20 sales in a neighborhood and only one sold, or 20 actives in the neighborhood and only one sold, you're probably looking at a rental type neighborhood, which is fine because there's plenty of investors out there right now that are looking for rental property. But you just want to make sure that you are indeed factoring in the demand for the product that you're trying to acquire. By now you should know how to use the SOS. The SOS is a simple form used to help you calculate your offer. You need to input your address, the subdivision, tax value, and the size of the property. These fields here, the ERC fields, will automatically calculate, and then you simply select which ERC you're going to go with just by inputting the number here. The estimated sales price should be done by driving the comps, and the minimum profits. The way you calculate the minimum profits to plug in here is typically a graduated scale. So on 100,000 below, you need to assume that the investor is wanting to make about $12,000 to $15,000 if they're going to flip the house. 150, between 100 and 150, you're really thinking the investor wants to make 15 to 20. 150 to 200, the investor is looking 20, 25. 200 plus, you're really looking at a $30,000 profit that you need to budget in. And then the last field that you want to fill in is prospector wants, because this field here is going to equal the ESP minus the ERC minus the closing cost minus the carry cost minus the selling cost minus the real estate taxes minus the selling cost. These are agents. This is for the agent commission. This is for actual contributions, title policy, etc. And then it's going to subtract this, and that's where it comes up with this number, and then you back out what your planned assignment fee is. And this max price here tells you the most that you can pay for the property as the wholesaler. Make sure you have proof of funds with you, either a hard money approval letter, a bank letter if you have a line of credit, a copy of a bank statement showing you have cash, something to build up your credibility with the seller. When it comes to contracting, contracting is pretty simple. You just want to use the TREC 20-10 in Texas, and if you're in another state, you want to make sure you use state promulgated forms. Put down earnest money, write a 30-day close. When you're starting out, I recommend you get a 7-day option, give them $20, and just tell them it's you've got to get your business partner to come over and sign off on the deal, and you just let them know that your business partner has never told you no. Because if you've never done one, your business partner hasn't told you no yet. You need to give them 7 days to provide a seller's disclosure. Make sure you have all the applicable addendums, the lead-based paint, your addendum A. You need to put your earnest money up at the title company, and if there's any repairs the seller has to complete, you need to make sure that those are done in a timely manner. And if the property is vacant, you need to use the rapport that you've built to get a lockbox and a key on the property. And just look in the document library and listen to those modules for more information on that. Now, when it comes to packaging promoting, this is one of those things that a lot of investors and wholesalers have trouble with. But I'm going to tell you, it's very simple. Don't get hung up on this. A lot of the students haven't done their homework yet, but you need to practice doing this. This makes it easy to assign the property for the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time. The POP will address many of the issues that a serious investor will want to know. You need to make sure you video the exterior of the property and the neighborhood. Just kind of a street scene video. Video the interior of the property and make comments as you're walking through if there's something the investor may have a question about. You need to interior and exterior photos with descriptions or captions, if you will. Contract terms and conditions have to go on your POP. Offer type if it's subject to, all cash, simultaneous close, etc. Any outstanding liens that won't be satisfied by the closing. Mortgage balance if it's a subject to. Annual property taxes are needed. You need to include PDF copy of your comps and the estimated ARV with sold and leased comps in the past 6 to 8 months. Any monthly liabilities the investor is inheriting, if there's HOA, mortgages, things of that nature. Average estimated ERC, you want to let the investor know that you're saying $15 a foot, $10 a foot, etc. Any number, include the number of bedrooms, bathrooms. You can get your insurance agent to include a clue report, specifically if there's ever been any water damage to the property, and property description, including overall condition of the property and year built. Video is where it's at. You got to get good at shooting video and uploading video to YouTube. You really, really need to use video in your marketing. Email it to your investors, and when you email it to your investors, you can use Constant Contact, Aweber. Again, MailChimp is free, and you should practice putting these templates up. Start building your list by collecting business cards. Get the business cards, go back home, open up the email client, and input the names yourself. Don't be lazy and ask other people to go to a website and sign up. Once you get their business card, put their information in, add them to your buyers list. So you got to start collecting those business cards. You need to include the YouTube link, the Box.net link, where you can share the entire folder with all your pictures and your pop and the tax rolls and the comps. Price, investment, profit, reward, any other additional comments. This is a good example. It's very easy to find your end buyer, and a lot of you guys are kind of stressing about this, and you're letting that stress about it hold you back from actually marketing your property, going out and marketing to buy properties. So you can do this several different ways. You can run newspaper ads, although that's not really recommended to start. Put ads on Craigslist. Craigslist is a hotbed of activity right now, and there's a lot of people that are paying cash for houses to live in because they can no longer qualify for loans. On the We Buy Houses advertisers, if they have a billboard up, a sign in the neighborhood, cash for houses, call them. Find out if they're a wholesale guy, if they're looking to add to their rental portfolio, and add them to your investor list. Investment clubs and groups, this is the absolute best way to meet people that are serious about buying houses. Go to courthouse auctions with a little flyer or a business card and walk up to people bidding and say, hey, are you looking for single-family houses? If they are, say, are you looking in this area? If they say yes, get their information and add them to your list. Bigger Pockets, Meetup, all these other DFW Investors, eProperty Vault, ConnectedInvestors.com. These are just there's a host of MyHouseDeals.com. There's a host of DFW free resources that you can post your property to. Now, once you've got an end buyer that wants to buy your house, you really need to make sure that you write up the assignment. The assignment of contract is a simple one-page form. By now you should be familiar with it, and you need to make sure you get non-refundable money from the buyer that puts them on the hook, and make sure that you have the buyer close in advance of the of your close date. That way you don't get dropped in the grease. Make sure everybody's set up. It's your job to act as the conduit and to make sure that both the investor and the seller are in complete understanding of when they're supposed to be where. You need to, if your investor is going to want to do a walkthrough prior to closing, you need to get the investor into the house, verify the closing time, verify all the numbers on the HUD, make sure all the disclosure documents are signed, and ultimately just make sure that everyone understands and everybody's getting everything that they want out of this deal. So again, dirt cheap signs, banditsigns.com, Vistaprint, logo design, printing and postage, phone service. These are all different resources that you can take advantage of. And so now the question is, we're 8 weeks into this. Where do you stand? What have you done to help yourself? Have you implemented an absentee owner campaign? Have you implemented other motivated seller lead sources? Have you done what you need to do to get your phone to ring? Have you overextended yourself to where you can't commit to a strategy? Because one of the things that George and I have harped about is that this is about consistency. You must commit to be consistent. You cannot simply mail out one batch of postcards, make $20,000, and life is rosy. You have to be consistent. So, guys, this was just kind of down and dirty and quick. Just wanted to kind of recap everything. You need to be rolling on this. You have not paid the money to be part of this program simply to learn. You've done it to profit. And I want you to commit to marketing your business, marketing to motivated sellers, and getting to a position where you are ready to take the next step. So I'm going to open up for comments. And at this time, if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hands or chat. No questions? Okay. Well,